Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk Philadelphia. And in today's episode, we'll be talking about the most dominant team in football in the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Sixers have won the two of their last few games. What's happening? We'll be discussing all that and more in today's episode of Sports Talk Philadelphia. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Braden Knapp, and I'm joined with a full panelist here today. Here on my left, Tyler Farmer. How are we doing?
I'm good.
Awesome. And over here, Tyler Wader. How are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. And then on the end, Gabe. How are we doing?
Doing good, a little cold though.
It has been very cold out, unfortunately. And first, we'll get into the Eagles, but before that, I want to flash back to last week's episode. So let's get to that. Tyler, pay attention.
I'm going to preview it right now as a fellow Ravens fan. Y'all going to get smacked. You're going to get worked. That's your preview. You know, we're a little hot in Baltimore after the way we played against Pittsburgh. You funny. I know you funny. I know that shot that you took, but that's okay because we're going to take 50 shots at y'all when y'all come to Baltimore in a couple of weeks. So I respect you guys. I respect the Philly fan base, but y'all ain't been to Baltimore. I can't wait to bring you guys down to our culture. And, you know, should be a good game for the Ravens. Fly, Ravens, fly.
Thank you. So, Tyler, floor is yours. Well, what were you saying last week?
So, America, I want to apologize. That was not me. That was this kid from an alternate universe. I don't know who he was. I'm assuming that just, you know, I think he just like knocked me out, threw the actual me into like a storage container somewhere, and he just took over the show. So I don't know who that was, but yeah, it won't be, guys. It wasn't me at the end of the day, I promise.
Thank you, Tyler. So let's get into the Eagles. The Eagles, they continue to roll versus the Rams and the Ravens, unfortunately, Tyler. So they beat the Rams 37-20, and they beat the Ravens this last game 24-19. Barkley had 307 total yards versus the Rams, and the Eagles defense held the Ravens offense to only 19 points. Very good performances the last few games. So Tyler, let's first talk about the Rams, not about the Ravens. So it was not a bad game. It was what you would think. They got it. They went in there. They got what they needed to do. They got the game finished. What's your reactions to it?
Well, I mean, for the Rams game, looking at, you know, what happened in that game, that was really Saquon's kind of like MVP-like argument type of game. That's the game where you look back and you could say this is the game where he kind of flipped that narrative and gave himself a shot to win MVP. He's obviously been great, you know, before that game, but this game, he just tore through that defense. You know, 270-plus yard touchdowns, over 307 total yards of offense. I mean, he carried the Eagles in that game. I believe he had more yards and more points in that game than what the Giants had in their game against the Buccaneers that week. It was that impressive, or maybe that bad by the Giants, who knows. But that game, really watching Saquon Barkley, it was an absolute clinic. It was one of those games that, you know, as for an Eagles fan, well, for you Eagles fans, you will never forget where you were when Saquon Barkley did what he did.
True. And Ty, how was your reaction to Saquon's just being Saquon?
It was unbelievable. Can't give enough thanks to the Giants organization. This Eagles team clearly runs through Saquon. It is the Saquon show. And like Tyler said, that is a game you look back on, and you know, when you're looking at an MVP case, and that's a breakout game when he puts up that kind of yards in the offense, over 300 total yards. Unbelievable. The multiple runs he had for a touchdown. I can't say enough about Saquon.
And Gabe, what's your reactions to Saquon just being Saquon?
Saquon being Saquon, I mean, 300-plus yards is kind of insane, especially coming from Saquon. Saquon's looking really good. I mean, he has an MVP case, but sadly, I think we all know who the real MVP is here, Lamar Jackson.
I know Tyler certainly agrees with that. And I know just talking about Lamar Jackson, he had a good game, but not as good a game as someone would think, because the Eagles defense has really stepped up in the last few games, and that's what I want to touch on now, and especially against the Ravens. I mean, only holding them to 19 points is insane. Now, we had some help from Justin Tucker. But besides that, I mean, only holding them to 19 points, I mean, Tyler, what can you say about this Eagles' dominant defense so far?
Yeah, you definitely had a 12th defender on the field when Justin Tucker was on the field. But obviously, you got to give props where it's due. This Eagles defense, they are just there's some dogs on that defense. Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, you saw that tackle on Derrick Henry. Ain't nobody tackling Derrick Henry like that, but DeJean, he did it, and he did his thing. You know, you look at the transition in this defense from where it was last year to where it is now. It was one of the worst defenses in football last year, and it might be the best defense in football this year. So I do have to give props where it's due. And, you know, the score was 24-19. That was a garbage touchdown that was scored with 3 seconds left. You know, the Eagles really shut down the Ravens offense that entire game, especially after that first quarter. So I got to give props where it's due. The Eagles defense is real, and they are, you know, they're a hungry unit. They're a great unit, and, you know, I can't say much more about them.
They really are. Ty, anything else to add on just Eagles defense?
Just that, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, unbelievable defensive backs, and the defense has really come into their own. I mean, even Jahan Dotson had a catch in that game. They're just running all facets of the game, 8 in a row. What else can you say?
Really can't. And now going into the NFC East standings right now, the Eagles, after the last few games, they're 10-2, which is amazing to see. And Commanders sitting there 8-5. We don't even talk about the last two. Who cares about them? But Gabe, what are your reactions to the NFC standings so far?
The Eagles are dominating. We're taking this division at the top. The Commanders, there's no way they can even pass us in this division. Everyone was saying the Eagles are going to lose the division somehow. I don't know how that was possible in the beginning of the year, but yeah, that was not happening.
Well, I mean, it's when you're talking about NFC East standings, it's always who's going to win, either the Eagles or the Cowboys. But this year, definitely not the Cowboys. And going into our upcoming schedule, we actually are playing a lot of our division, a lot of other teams in our division. Week 14, we have the Panthers 1 p.m. game. Then we're playing the Steelers, and then we're going to be going to Washington for Week 16. But going into the next game against the Panthers, they're 3-9, but this is not a game we can just go in there and walk into. They lost last week to the Bucs, but arguably some would say the Panthers should have won that game. Bryce Young has looked really good. Tyler, what are your expectations going into this next game?
I mean, it's fair to assume the Eagles have been on a little bit of a high. This is a bit of a trap game. The Panthers have been playing really well. They probably should have beat Tampa Bay. They could have honestly beat Kansas City a couple of weeks ago as well. So I think it's fair to say that this is a game where if the Eagles are not careful, Carolina definitely can come into the link and steal a win. However, I do believe that this team, I think, mentally is a lot better than what it was last year. I think last year, thinking about that game they lost to Arizona at home where you thought it was going to be a cakewalk, Cardinals come in and pull off the upset. I don't think that's the case here. I think that the Eagles, they might start out a little bit slow, but overall I do think they take care of business.
And Ty, what are your expectations for this Panthers game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a slow starting team, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I agree. It's very well could be a trap game. Bryce Young has looked really good since he took over the starting role again, and you have to take that into account. So I'm going to go into this game with a little bit of caution, but I like the Eagles.
I like that. And Gabe, let's hear your thoughts on this.
The Panthers game, it definitely is a trap game because, you know, they could have won against Kansas City and the Bucs. But going into this game, I feel like the Eagles, like, they can't take this lightly like they did against Jacksonville, or it'll be another Jacksonville situation where they'll get lucky and they'll come back, but they'll still get the win.
I agree with that. And unfortunately, that is all the time we have for the Eagles. We'll be going into the Flyers talk, who have been very good as of recently. The Flyers gaining momentum as they currently sit 12-10 and 3, going 4-1-1 in their last 6, which is fantastic to see. Michkov, who's been unbelievable, scored a game-winning goal versus the Blues, 1 goal, 1 assist in that one. Travis Konecny doing his thing, 2 goals and a win versus the Rangers. And the next game, December 5th, versus the 15-9-2 Panthers at 7 p.m. So, Ty, I mean, right now, all I can really say for the Flyers is Michkov, honestly. He's been unbelievable. Can you elaborate more on that?
I mean, can we just give him the Calder Trophy now?
I think we can.
Yeah, you want to tune into the Flyers every game they have because of Michkov. He is a star in the making, in my belief, and like you said, we've gone 3 wins in a row here. So we're really starting to gain some momentum. We're above 500, and we actually sit in the second wildcard spot. So I like where they're headed, and Michkov is just unbelievable.
He really is. I mean, he's, got 3 game winners now? I can't even remember, but he's just been unbelievable to see. And as Ty said, I mean, give him the trophy. Just give it to him. And, I mean, he's only 19. What's crazy about this, I'm older than him, which don't really like that he's tearing up the NHL right now, but whatever. I mean, it's amazing. I wouldn't say he's carrying the team, but he's most certainly helping them to currently sit in the second wild card spot. But going into the next game against the Panthers, who are a decent team, Ty, what can you expect going into this next game?
Very tough matchup. They've been a very good team last few years. The Panthers have. They obviously won the Cup, but the mojo behind this Flyers team right now, I'm loving it. Even the coaches, I saw something, the coaches are wearing these black camo hoodies, so because they've been winning when they've been wearing them. So I like that. I think the clubhouse is just really gelling together, and if they play a game, I'm going to take them to win just because they're mojo. They keep winning these overtime games, and I just love what I see from them.
I like that. And, well, one thing, speaking of overtime games, the Panthers are just coming off of a loss from Boston in overtime, 5-4. So they're going to be a little hot and hungry this next game, especially against the Flyers, maybe come in trying to break up this win streak. But, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think the Flyers have a good chance this game, or?
Yeah, I would say they have a good chance. I would give them a fighting chance in any game because of Michkov. I mean, it feels like it keeps coming back to Michkov, but with them winning 3 in a row, being 12-10-3, just keep that momentum going and keep doing what you're doing because whatever it is, it's working. So I do think they have a good chance to, beat the Panthers.
I agree. I think, as you said earlier, Panthers are a good team, so it will be a tough game. However, we're on this little hot streak right here. Hopefully we continue and ride it and hopefully get a win here. But one thing I want to quickly go over with this Flyers team is I think the Flyers found their guy in Michkov to build around. And going forward, I know that's something that just all Flyers fans are going to be very excited for because over the past couple of years hasn't been the best, unfortunately. So I know this makes every Flyers fan happy to see Michkov doing his thing and honestly just tear it up. I mean, honestly, what he's doing now, he could potentially be one of the best in the league. I don't know if that's too much to say, Ty. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. He's showing these flashes that you want to see from a guy like him when they obviously drafted him. He slipped a little in the draft because of his situation, but what a steal that was at pick 7. And if he continues this, which I think all Philadelphia fans hope and believe he can be up there with Cal Maker and Matthews. So I really like everything he's doing.
Yep, and unfortunately, that's all the Flyers time we have for today. We'll be going into the Sixers, who've been on a 2-game win streak, which unfortunately has not been an occurrence this year. Unfortunately, the Sixers starting to put it together. They won 3 of the last 5. Paul George, 29 points. He's finally been doing something. In the last game, he went 6 from 9 in 3 versus the win against the Hornets. Embiid is still out with his knee injury. What's new there? Next game against the Magic at 7:30. Sixers, I mean, on the bright spot, they've been winning games, which I know everyone just wants. But I mean, Unfortunately, they've already dug themselves a very big hole, which who knows if they can dig themselves out, because just their star players, they're not in again. I mean, for the game tonight, Paul George is out, Embiid, he's still out with his knee injury. Lowry ain't playing, Drummond ain't playing. The only good thing is that against the Magic, Apollo Banchero ain't playing. But I mean, Tyler, we're winning, but the injuries, this Sixers team, man. Ugh.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, it's good to see them trying to kind of get back on the winning track, going 3-2. I do think, Tyrese Maxey coming back, him kind of running the offense, kind of getting getting guys together. I think that's helping a little bit in this situation, which is why the Sixers have been able to get some wins. But it is just like, dad, can we get healthy, consistently healthy? I mean, like you said, George out again. And Embiid, I could care less for Embiid now. He's just a guy, in my opinion. I mean, it seems like any time we talk about Joel Embiid, it's drama. He shoved a reporter. He's looking for, he's trying to find the person who snitched on him for the Tyrese Maxey report. It's never basketball. It's always nonsense with Joel Embiid. So when it comes to Joel Embiid, I really don't care. But when it comes to, Paul George trying to get him healthy and in a rhythm, he was great against the Hornets, but now he's out again. And it's like, when can we start developing some chemistry? Because that's the only way the Sixers can dig themselves out of the hole they're in, is if these guys are consistently on the court and developing a chemistry with each other.
Exactly. And Gabe, can you elaborate more on just the injuries and just what's been happening with the Sixers? Let's hear your thoughts.
Paul George, he's going to play. Even though he's out, but he's put on the knee brace. He's shown that he wants to play, unlike Embiid, who's always out. Because we got guys like Embiid, he's never playing. I mean, they need to learn how to play without Embiid so we can start winning some games. Because if they can play without Embiid, maybe in the future we can look towards maybe getting rid of Embiid for someone better, or getting some more guys on the team to help.
100%. I mean, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like Embiid is the guy, and the Sixers really should be looking at other options. Ty, how do you feel about this? Embiid, what are you feeling?
I will hold out every shred of hope for Embiid. I have loved him since the day we brought him here. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though it just keeps getting worse. Every story, every game he's not playing, it's continuing to be hard to do. We said, we need to figure out how they can win without Embiid, because if they can't do that, I don't know how they're going to be able to make the playoffs. Obviously, like what you see from McCain and Maxey, it seems like they're taking it easy with Paul George, which doesn't really help his momentum, playing more minutes and more games. So I just don't know.
Yeah, and like what you said off of McCain, I want to build off that. McCain, who, has been fantastic, exceeding everyone's expectations, maybe even his own. Probably not, because he backs himself, obviously. But McCain, just in the last game, only playing 21 minutes, not starting, letting Kelly Oubre start. McCain, he put up 17 points in 21 minutes off great proficiency. And then you have Kelly Oubre, who played way more minutes than him, or 8 more minutes than him. But he only shot 15 points. He only got 15 points, and he had barely any good proficiency. Ty, what are we doing? Why can't we just start McCain and keep him?
It seems like a good question. Definitely one for the coach, Nick Nurse, because that's kind of where I'm looking. He needs to be able to recognize situations and when guys are hot and be able to play them. McCain, no question, should have been in that end of that game. And, him and Maxey and Andre Drummond, these guys that are doing well, they need to be at the end of the game. Otherwise, they're going to, even if they have a lead, those leads are going to go away and they're going to continue to lose games.
Exactly. And speaking of that, let's go into the upcoming schedule of the Sixers. The next 3 games, they play the Magic twice, and then they go to Chicago to play the Bulls. Gabe, looking at these next couple games, we play the Magic twice. Now, Banchero, he's still out with injuries, but they're still a good team. So going to these next few games, what do the Sixers got to do?
They gotta start McCain. And we gotta start feeding Maxey and McCain. Hopefully, Paul George will play. because Paul Banchero's out. That's their main guy. So really all they have is they have their smaller guys like Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, which they're not going to really do that much. With Paolo Banchero out, these should be some good wins.
They really should. And I am actually a fan of Paulo Banchero. He's a really good player. So, but I'm not mad that he's not playing against the Sixers because that just it gives us more of a chance to win. But you can't even say the Sixers should win this game because they've just been so inconsistent. Tyler, what are you thinking for these next couple Magic games?
I don't know. Just say a couple prayers, couple Hail Marys, and just hope that we can get one of these games. I think the number one thing we have to do, we've got to play Jared McCain at least 30 minutes in these games. I'm one of those types, because some people, like, especially when you have rookies, you want to ease them in, you don't want to give them too much. I'm one of those people where I'm like, if you have a rookie, the only way they get better is by playing. So if they're limiting Jared McCain's minutes because he's a rookie and we don't want to, no, put him in. He's proven so far to this point that not only is he a very good player, he can contribute to wins early. So we need to bump up these minutes. He's only averaging 25 minutes a game. I would like to see that get to over 30 minutes a game. He's shown he can handle the workload. Just because he's a rookie, you can't just hold him back. You got to put him in there. You got to go through those growing pains, develop him. It starts there with McCain giving him more minutes.
I agree. And quickly before we wrap up, excuse me, can we have some score predictions from you all for these next couple of Magic games?
Me, I'm going to say, I'll say they split the games against the Magic. I'll say they win tonight 110-103, and then I think they'll lose December 6th against them. That'll be like a low-scoring game. I'm going to go like 102-95 in that one.
Tyler, for you?
I'm going to say they split as well, but I'm going to go with a loss tonight and a win tomorrow.
And quickly over then, Gabe?
I'm going to be confident. I'm going to say they're going to get 2 wins. I think they can do it. I think they pull it off.
I like that. I'm right there with you there. So let's go to our last segment, Fast Five, starting with Tyler Waiter, Saquon rushing record and MVP.
Yeah, so Saquon has 1,500 rushing yards on the season. He needs 2,105 to break the record. With 5 games remaining, it's going to be a tough task. He needs about 120 yards a game in these last 5 games. Now, that's going to be difficult. Obviously, at the end of the season, teams like to rest their players. But with the number 1 seed in the reach of Eagles, that could play a factor in Saquon playing all 5 games and playing a lot of snaps in all these games. So if he can average about 120 yards each game, I think he has a decent shot at breaking the record. And it's really just a race between him and Josh Allen for the MVP. But like we said earlier, that 300 all-purpose yard game was really a stamp in that MVP race. So I think he can easily win the rushing record and the MVP.
Right there. And next, Tyler, have you lost faith in Justin Tucker?
This one hurts. This one, I wish I had a box of tissues because this hurts. I've always loved Justin Tucker from his rookie year in 2012 when he kicked game winners against Tom Brady and the Patriots, went into Denver, kicked the game winner there to send us to the AFC Championship game in which we ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. Just the numerous highlights. I don't think there's no kicker in the NFL that produces highlights other than Justin Tucker.
Really not. It was
But
really not.
the Ravens have lost 5 games this year by a combined 22 points. Justin Tucker in those losses has missed 22 points worth of kicks. I love him. I respect everything he's done, but I think it's time for the Ravens to look in a different direction.
Alrighty. And more McCain involvement late in games with Gabe.
McCain needs some more minutes. I think that's what we all want to hear because there's no way like guys that I know shade to Kelly Oubre. There's no way like guys like Kelly Oubre should be getting more minutes than Jared McCain. Jared McCain, he's rookie of the year. I'm saying rookie of the year only because Rob Dillingham isn't playing. But if we get McCain some more minutes and some more involvement on that team, they're going to be looking good.
They really will. And then with me, the surprise NFL team. This is amazing. I get to talk about the Denver Broncos. Oh, I don't know how they're 8-5. I couldn't tell you. Beginning of this season, I thought it would be flipped, if not even like 4 and whatever. I don't know how they have 8 wins. Well, I do, because really good coaching Sean Payton, which he's proved, and Bo Nix playing like a stud. Maybe not Rookie of the Year, but you never know. By the end of the year, he's been playing really good. It's just things have been clicking, and then with the defense, Nick Bonito's been on a tear, which I didn't expect that one. I don't know how this Broncos team has been doing this, honestly, but they have been, and I'm excited for it. And I know everyone in Denver has been excited for it, even though this team has a lot of missing pieces still, and still a lot of assets they need to obtain before they even think about a Super Bowl, even though they're 8-5 and sit in the wild card spot. They've been really good, and they've been really fun to watch. And it's just been amazing, honestly, to watch them. And next, for our final segment, was Eagles' chances for the number 1 seed with Tyler.
When it comes to the Eagles' chances for the number 1 seed, I think they have a great chance. Right now, the Lions at 11-1 sit with the top seed, but they've got a really tough schedule going down the stretch. 3 of their final 5 games are against teams with at least 9 wins. They have the Packers coming up on Thursday night. They play the Bills in 2 weeks, and then their last game of the season is against Minnesota. And with the number of injuries that they're starting to accumulate, that could also play a factor down the stretch. The Eagles, their toughest game left is against the Steelers. It's at home in Philadelphia. And as long as the Eagles just keep doing what they're doing, stick with their identity, they might be able to potentially run the table to end the season. I do expect the Lions to get a loss or 2 before the season's over.
Thank you. And unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's episode of Sports Talk Philadelphia. If you would please check out our socials at Sports Talk LTV on X and Instagram. And unfortunately, we're going to have a lot of time until our next show here at LaSalle. We'll be going on break for Christmas break. We hope you all have a great Christmas, great holidays with your family and friends. Please stay tuned for next couple weeks. A lot will have changed since then. Please stay tuned.